Imagine waking up to find your nation's wealth gone. Not stolen from a single vault, but entire reserves, millions in gold bars, vanish into thin air. No gunfire in the streets, no bank alarms blaring, just empty treasuries and unanswered questions. Throughout history, gold has been more than wealth. It has been power, stability, and the backbone of empires. Which is why its disappearance, whether by theft, corruption, or vanishing under mysterious circumstances, feels less like robbery and more like treason. From Nazi plunder in World War II to the missing reserves of modern nations, the world's gold has a history of slipping away, stolen by enemies, hidden by rulers, or simply erased from records. This is not just about lost treasure. It's about power struggles, betrayal, and how the disappearance of gold has rewritten the destinies of nations. In the dying days of World War II, as the Third Reich collapsed, German officials scrambled to move their stolen wealth, art, jewels, and most importantly, gold. One legend stands above them all, the Nazi gold train. In 1945, a heavily guarded train supposedly left Wrocław, Poland, packed with stolen gold bars, valuables, and national reserves looted from across Europe. Witnesses claimed it disappeared into secret tunnels in the Ural Mountains. The train never emerged. No gold was recovered. Polish locals whispered of armed convoys, sealed tunnels, and Allied soldiers who may have found the treasure first. Some historians suggest the train was buried deliberately, sealed beneath collapsing mines. Others believe it was quietly claimed by Soviet forces, who erased all records. To this day, treasure hunters flock to Lower Silesia, armed with scanners and maps, searching for Nazi gold worth billions. Every few years, a new ledge surfaces, a radar scan showing a hidden tunnel, a forgotten testimony, and the legend grows. But the deeper question lingers. Did the Nazis succeed in hiding Europe's greatest wartime treasure? Or has it already been stolen again in silence? In 1588, Spain launched the mightiest fleet Europe had ever seen. The Armada, a naval force meant to crush England. Hidden in its holds was not just cannon and powder, but treasure, gold and silver from the New World, wealth extracted from colonies and destined to finance Spain's dominance. But when storms and English firepower broke the Armada apart, many rich ships sank off the coast of Scotland and Ireland. Some carried untold riches. For centuries, divers and scavengers searched those wrecks, claiming pieces of silver, but the bulk of the treasure never surfaced. Whispers of secret recoveries abound. Local legends in Ireland spoke of villagers who mysteriously became wealthy, while others claimed the gold was quietly retrieved by Spanish survivors and smuggled back to the crown. Still, vast portions remain unaccounted for. Historians debate whether the Armada's gold was exaggerated, a tale inflated by rumor. But the fact remains, Spain's empire suffered financial strain after the Armada's failure, as if their golden lifeline had truly vanished beneath the waves. The disappearance of that treasure was more than a maritime tragedy. It was a turning point where the loss of wealth echoed into the decline of Spain's supremacy. Fort Knox, a name synonymous with security, secrecy, and America's golden vault. Officially, it holds more than 4,500 metric tons of bullion, locked behind granite walls and steel doors. But for decades, rumors have persisted. What if the gold isn't really there? The mystery began in the 1970s, when economic instability and inflation rocked the U.S. Critics questioned whether the reserves had been quietly drained, sold off, or used to prop up secret government deals. The government's refusal to allow a full public audit only fueled suspicions. In 1974, a rare tour was granted to a handful of congressmen and journalists. They were shown a few glittering stacks of gold, but never the full vaults. The secrecy only deepened the conspiracy. Some believe large portions of America's gold were quietly transferred overseas during World War II, never to return. Others argue it's a smokescreen, that Fort Knox is little more than a symbol, while the real reserves lie hidden elsewhere. Whether the gold is missing, misplaced, or still gleaming in the vaults, one truth remains. Fort Knox's mystery is not just about wealth. It's about trust. Trust in money, trust in government, and trust in a nation's word. In 1917, as revolution swept Russia, the Tsarist regime collapsed, leaving behind one of the largest gold reserves in the world. By some accounts, over 1,300 tons of gold were stored in imperial treasuries. But when the Bolsheviks seized power, much of that gold was already missing. White Army generals, fleeing revolutionaries, are said to have carried trainloads of bullion east into Siberia, where it vanished in the chaos of civil war. Japanese forces, foreign adventurers, and even rogue Bolshevik commanders were accused of plundering the shipments. Some stories tell of gold dumped into rivers to keep it from enemy hands. Others of hidden caches buried in the wilderness. Decades later, Soviet officials claimed the reserves had been secured, but records never matched the original figures. Even today, Russian historians argue about how much of the Tsar's gold was stolen, lost, or secretly used to fund foreign revolutions. The disappearance of Russia's gold was more than theft. It was the erasure of an empire's wealth, leaving the Soviet Union to build its power not on inherited riches, but on ideology and steel. The saga of missing gold is not confined to the past. In recent decades, nations have watched their reserves vanish under the smoke of war, collapse, and corruption. Take Venezuela. Once rich in oil, its economy crumbled, and whispers grew that vast portions of its gold reserves had been secretly flown abroad, traded for survival, or hidden in foreign banks. Official records clash with reality, and citizens ask, where did the nation's wealth go? Or Libya, under Muammar Gaddafi. Reports suggest Libya held nearly 150 tons of gold, intended to back an independent African currency. After NATO intervention and Gaddafi's fall, that gold disappeared. Some say it was smuggled out by loyalists, others that foreign powers seized it in silence. Even today, central banks quietly shift reserves, while stories surface of planes carrying bullion under the cover of night. The modern era proves one thing: the theft of gold is not an ancient relic, but an ongoing game of shadows. Gold is more than metal. It is leverage, power, and survival. And when it disappears, entire nations tremble. From the hidden Nazi train to the sinking armada, from Fort Knox's suspicion to modern vanishing reserves, history is filled with tales of gold gone missing. Sometimes stolen in bold heists, sometimes erased in silence. Each disappearance tells us the same truth: gold is never just treasure. It is trust, sovereignty, and survival. And when it vanishes, nations are left weaker, broken, or forever changed. The world's greatest mysteries are not always written in blood. Sometimes they glitter, then vanish. So here's the question: if the past is full of missing gold, what treasure might be disappearing right now?